Syndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
Where do we even start, Shep? I mean, honestly, it was a classic. It was epic. It was, use every word that you want. I'm going to say it again. Very soon, I'm going to have a Bo Brisky Appreciation Day. He's probably going to start the next two games at least. We'll see about game 5. I have a feeling that Skubal guy will show up. But, Shep, what a fantastic, memorable game 2 of this series.
Yeah, I think that home run's going to live in everybody's memory for a long time, don't you think, Sean? I mean, that's one of those memorable moments, I think, because of, the distance between the Tigers' playoff spots and because who it was off of, right? And because Kerry Carpenter he's got the dramatic. He's got that feel for the dramatic. My son and I are watching it together, and I said to him, if there's somebody who can turn around on a fastball from Class A, it's Kerry Carpenter. Now he didn't get a fastball, but I said this kid is not intimidated. Remember this: he hit 18 home runs during the regular season. 17 were off righties. Class A had not allowed a home run off a slider since 2023. He tripled up. He didn't double up. He tripled up on sliders. And I don't know if Carpenter was looking for it or not, but what a swing. Is it in the same realm as Mickey Lolich's home run to the World Series in 68? Is it in the same realm as Kirk Gibson's in 84? Magglio Ordonez, right, in 2006? I don't know. But it's in the discussion, and it's something people will remember forever, and it's kind of fun. I would say this, though, Sean, as much as we want to talk about Kerry Carpenter and Tarik Skubal, and for good reason, Jake Rogers and Trey Sweeney preceding it, I think it needs to be discussed as much as the other two, my opinion.
Did you see my tweet, Shep? Honestly, it's exactly what I tweeted. I swear to God, I said, isn't baseball an amazing game? Jake Rogers and Trey Sweeney off the Cleveland, I almost called them the Indians again, Guardians Cy Young candidate. And any other year, he would have a very serious case. He's not going to beat Tarik Skubal. No way, no how. You know it. I know it. We'll all move on. But honest to God, I tweeted that out, Shep. I said Jake Rogers and your 8 and 9 hitter. And no disrespect to the guys, not exactly known as guys that are going to go up there and play the role of hero. Absolutely phenomenal. I agree with you.
Yeah, look, Jake Rogers, what a good swing on that, right? I mean, that was impressive. I did wonder a little bit. Class A comes in, so Stephen Vogt goes and gets Class A in the 8th. He gets that final out, right? Or the final 2 outs. I forget exactly what it was. There's that phrase of up down. And in case people don't know what it is, your pitcher comes off the mound, goes in and sits. That's the down. Then he gets back up and he goes back out to work. Starters are used to that, right? Certain relievers, long relievers, are used to that. Closers are not necessarily used to that. And I don't know how often Class A did it. So I'm not going to try to pretend to throw out a bunch of numbers at you. I just know closers, and he's a legitimate closer. Tigers may not have one, but Cleveland does, are not necessarily used to that. I thought he was pumping in at 101, but he was laboring with his location a lot more in that 9th inning. Not to take anything away from what Detroit did. I just give him a ton of credit for, going about their business and do what they had to do. And then, of course, you got Detroit's bullpen. This series, you and I talked about it before, this series was going to come down because they're very similar teams, right? And you've got to capitalize on your opportunities. Cleveland had had 2 opportunities. They hit a couple double plays. They missed their chance against Tarik Skubal. They missed 2 really good chances. Couldn't cash in. Kerry Carpenter with a swing of his life, and what a moment for everybody in Detroit. And you got exactly what you wanted, right? You're coming home 1-1, and you got to win a couple of games at home. It can be done.
Mr. Detroit said, hello, fellas. Tom Robinson, good evening, guys. What a game.
Yeah.
They got what they needed with a split in the first of 2 games. More on that in just a second. My buddy Joe from Windsor said, incredible game. You know what, Shep? If I'm the Indians, that's the mindset that I have to take right now. Okay? Because you know what? What happened in the first 2 games that maybe we didn't expect? I think a lot of people thought that Cleveland would take game 1, and you have to expect to take the Skubal game, right? I mean, you do. You have to expect to take the Skubal game. The missed opportunities stink, but I guess if I'm the Cleveland perspective, because we were going through this earlier today, Shep, you know the doom and gloom crowd in this town that were, oh gosh, here we go. The magic ran out. You got Tarik Skubal on the mound, man. I like my chances when Tarik Skubal's on the mound. So as far as I'm concerned, I guess if I was to look at it the other way, I would say the same thing. I would go, okay, well, Skubal got us. The guy's been lights out, hasn't given up a run yet. And the Tigers for 15 innings couldn't do a damn, well, crap, I almost swore. For 17 innings, couldn't do a thing, and then one swing changed it. So, there's both ways to look at it. We're one apiece, but I know this Comerica Park will be electric on Wednesday.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I suppose if you're the glass half full, and you always have been, if you're from Cleveland's perspective, that's what you're thinking about.
Yep.
I'm looking at 2 opportunities to beat the best pitcher in baseball, and we didn't cash in. And I worry privately about my bullpen and their availability, Class A's availability for Wednesday. So that's back-to-back games he pitched. He pitched in game 1, even though it was a blowout.
Good call.
And he pitched, and I think for good reason. I'm not questioning Stephen Vogt. I think that was the right thing to do. He had missed, they'd been off for a long time. He wanted to get him some work. He knows his guys better than anybody. I do wonder about that on Wednesday a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that.
Austin said, Shep, you and I were talking about this just before, and we'll get to it in a second. The baseball gods were in our favor, as I may be crazy, but I swear the ball Quan caught bounced. Joe said, you can't miss your chances against Skubal. You're not going to get many. Tom said, you bring the closer in the 8th, you're playing with fire. Back-to-back series, the Tigers jumping on the closers. The mindset is not the same with nothing on the line as a closer.
No,
Mike said,
that's not true.
Mike said, thought Quan trapped it. Boys shrugged it off. Biggest home run since Mags in 2006. More on that in a second. Vest and Bo did their lights out magic again. Incredible. All right. I want to get very quickly though, Shep. I want to get back to the point about the Quan play. I thought he caught it. I did. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it hit webbing and stayed in. But with that being said, you have to be conclusive. I didn't think there was anything conclusive about that replay.
No, if you're a Tigers fan, you want that catch and you deserve that catch. I don't think it was a trap. I think he got his glove underneath it, and the ball hit the glove. As it was coming in, it hit the glove and then hits ground. So in other words, the glove is underneath the ball. The ball hits the bottom of the glove as well as, as it's hitting the ground. I thought it was a clean catch. I thought it was the right place. I thought it was a hell of a catch. Just a hell of a job by Stephen Quan, a Gold Glove outfielder. I just want to get back to this colder thing. You bring your closer in the 8th, you're playing with fire, back-to-back series with the Tigers jumping on their closers. They didn't jump on Class A in game 1, and they brought him in. You bring it. It's not like it's a back-to-back. Okay, there's a game in between. He'd had a long layoff since he had last thrown, and the mindset. When you're saying it's not the same with nothing on the line as a closer, the game's on the line. The game's on the line every single inning in a near 0-0 game. If you think Emmanuel Class A goes out to the mound and says, well, this is not a safe situation, so my focus is lost, my intensity is gone, you're sorely mistaken. He's there to get outs. Those outs in the 8th inning are just as important as the outs he's about to get in the 9th. And that's how they look at it. And that's the way they should look at it. Let's not fall into cliches and thinking that they can't amp each other up or they can't get amped up by a certain situation. Couldn't be more wrong as far as I'm concerned.
Mike, magical season. Parker takes one off the wall from them in the bottom frame. Good job, boys. Good show. Appreciate you, Mike. Shep, can I try to put in perspective where to rank this home run? Because we've heard a lot of people. You brought up some home runs. There was one that my son and I were talking about, and I know you'll remember this, and I hope other people remember it. I don't know. In my mind, it's almost like the forgotten big home run. In 2011, the Yankees and the Tigers get together. They split the first 2 games in New York. Game 3 comes back to Detroit. It was bone-ass cold Monday night at Comerica Park. One of those, it's 55 degrees at start. The sun goes down, it's 7. I mean, you're freezing your ass off. And Delman Young comes up in the 7th inning after the Yankees had just gotten 2, and you're thinking, here we go again. Gosh, damn it, we're going to lose to the Yankees. I can't take this. And Delman hits a bomb out to right field, and the place went nuts. And for whatever reason, I know there were other moments even that year before they eventually fell to the Rangers. That's kind of one of those home runs. My son and I were talking about that today because, we were out there down the first baseline. The place went nuts. And, obviously Fister goes out in game 5 and does what he does back at Yankee Stadium. And it was awesome. But we've been blessed with so many big moments like that, man. We really have. And I know it hasn't paid off in the World Series win since 84 and all that. But when you're talking about those big moments, I think sometimes people forget that one, Shep. That was a huge home run against the Yankees.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get so caught up in what the game winner is. I mean, you
Sure.
can even go in 84. Lance Parrish's rope over the left field fence was just as big a homer as Gibby's home run off Goose Gossage. There was just the drama and everything associated with it.
Sure.
It's the same thing with certain outs that you get, right? The double play that Trey Sweeney started to Colt Keith to turn that double play. I think it was on David Fry earlier in the game. That gets lost in a box score, but that doesn't get lost on what a manager or an infield coach or a starting pitcher gets when he turns behind him and realizes that's a slow roller. Sweeney had to make the decision right away, charge it, make a good flip to second base, and that's a hell of a turn by Colt Keith. He's gotten a lot better at that. So just because the game wasn't on the line, to your point, doesn't mean that it wasn't just as important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Shep, we have to start, and I hate overstatements. You and I have talked about this for many years. This was the best. That was the best. I think there's the tendency to get carried away. Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, and feel free to yell at me, we are in uncharted territory with what Tarik Skubal has done this year. Not just the season, but to come out and have those 2 gems where he hasn't given up an unearned run, Shep. I would like to fact check myself, but I'm really sure I don't need to. Even in some of those glorious Verlander seasons and Scherzer and Sanchez, for a guy to come out in his first two postseason games and pitch as he has, we're in uncharted territory with this guy right now.
Yeah,
he's gone into superhuman form.
Yeah, I'd like to check the Verlander stuff when he threw against Oakland, right, in 06. Look, it's been special. We've been lucky to have so many great starting pitchers. Even if you think about it, Denny McLain won 31 games in 68. He didn't pitch great in the playoffs.
No, sir.
So now remember, they didn't have the buildup like Skubal and the Tigers do this year. It's been awesome. There's no question he's the Cy Young, and there's no question he's the best pitcher in baseball. I guess to me, I'm gonna reserve judgment a little bit on that because I think there's been an awful lot of special moments. Nothing to me, nothing. And it's not like you and I were there firsthand, but nothing will top what Mickey Lolich did in the World Series in 1968, going 3 games, winning 3 games, going the distance all 3 games, hitting a triple and a home run, I believe, and in the last game beat the best pitcher in the world in Bob Gibson. So nothing. It's not that I'm not impressed with Tarik Skubal. I'm super impressed, but he'll have to do a little bit more for me to overtake some of the guys who've done it before him.
The thing that jumps out to me, I thought Verlander was at his nastiest in the year that he struggled. In 2013, people forget Verlander struggled. And then all of a sudden, the last month of the season, he started to put it together, and he was unbelievable, that playoff run. And Shep, for what it's worth, his 2006 postseason, he had 5 1/3 against the Yankees, 3 earned runs, 5 1/3 against the A's, and 4 earned runs. So
Wow.
it's amazing how that works out. But you know what? He had a good outing against everybody in 2013. I'm looking it up. I have the benefit of looking it up. Make no mistake about that. He'd had that game against the A's. Remember, 7 innings, only 4 hits, and they lost 1-0. I mean, he was absolutely just sick down the stretch that year. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, to put together the season that he did and start with his first 2 postseason games, not giving up an earned run, man, we're witnessing something special. There's no doubt about it.
It's been it's been a golden ride, and I think what I've enjoyed most about Tarik Skubal is the fact that he's posted every single day, right? I mean, he's only had one other season in his career where he's made every start in a season. So for him to come out and do that on a regular basis and be that horse and be that what you hope would be for the most part, a stopper of losing trends. And I think you can tell the team how much more confident they play behind him than anybody else. It's amazing when you've got a guy who is going to throw strikes as much as anything else. Defenders will tell you this every single time they take the field for that specific individual. I've got to be on my toes because I know he's throwing strikes. I want a guy who throws strikes. I want quick innings, but I want some contact my way. I want to be on the tips of my toes and ready to go because I know he's going to be in the zone and he's going to force swings. Now, for him, it's more swings and misses than anything else, but they love playing behind a guy like that. It's awesome. It's simply awesome.
JV in 2013, by the way, Shep, he had a .39 ERA and a .57 whip. His ERA was lower than his whip.
Oh, my God. I must have been thinking about 13 out of 6.
What the hell's wrong with you, man? Seriously, what the hell's wrong with you? Couple comments. To be honest, the one thing that makes me nervous about this team is if we eventually happen to lose a Skubal start, I'm nervous about bullpen mania winning 3-4 by themselves. I think that's fair. While I understand we assume Skubal starts are automatic W's, it's still the MLB playoffs. Austin, great poll. I swear to God, I brought this up to Neil Rule today. The Alexis Gomez home run game at Oakland that preambled that all-time Magic Maglio moment that series. Do you Alexis Gomez, you want to talk about Jim Leland pressing the right button at the right, like Shep, full disclosure, I was going, Leland, you're a crazy old man doing crazy old man things when he did that. And Alexis Gomez homers, and I'm like, Leland, you are the smartest guy. I was behind you the whole time. I mean, it's amazing. Here's a good one, Shep. Could they run Tarik on Thursday if they're going for the series win?
I don't think they would. No. Nope. Okay. They'll want him fresh for game 5, I think, is what they now. If it's 9th inning, you're up a run or 2, and Cleveland's got a man on, and the situation arises, I suppose that's a possibility. I guess the question would be, why would you do that when your bullpen has been so good already?
Right.
And then you need to make sure you've got your guy for game 5. If it goes back to Cleveland and you've got Skubal and they're tied at 2 and you got Skubal on the mound, how much do you like your chances? A ton, right? I don't think you do that, especially since you have certain guys in that bullpen, like Tyler Holton, for example, who can get outs in that type of situation. I could be wrong, but I doubt they do that.
Kind of lost in all this was the outing for Matthew Boyd, huh? I mean, honest goodness, who saw that coming? Like, good for him. He seemed like a good guy. You would know better than I, Shep, but
great guy.
Good for him to have that kind of outing. You know, I mean, I was hoping he was, flammable, to be honest with you, but it's easier to give the tip of the cap after the fact when you win the game.
Oh, man, he kept guys off balance. I thought he doubled up when he needed to. I thought his spin was outstanding. He looked like he was on point the entire time, very confident, was able to throw any pitch he wanted in any count. I thought Detroit was really off balance against Matthew Boyd. You're right, Sean. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought he was special today.
All right. Let me tell you about my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two guys right there, the Hanson brothers, with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. And that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, already in retirement, they got your back. They can help guide you through every step of your financial journey, and they work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one. If you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. That's Mike Husak on the left, Jeff Husak on the right. 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. As Michael said, Tiger playoff baseball and Red Wing home opener on Thursday should be a great time downtown.
Good point, man. So Wednesday Tigers, Thursday Red Wings, and then the Tigers are back. Would game 4
Thursday?
Be Friday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday, Thursday. They're going back to back. Yeah.
Oh, it's Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 6:08, and then what? 7:30. Is it 7:30?
Yeah,
I want to call it the Joe at LCA.
I know.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works out. So
it's crazy.
Fun day.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
man, the town is going to be the town's alive, and then the Lions are gone. So all right. So I was going to say, can you imagine what downtown businesses would be like if the Lions were home on Sunday? And oh my God, that would be something else, man. Something else.
No doubt.
I wonder how many people are going to do that double dip, Sean. How many will do the double dip?
Well, you'd have to.
I don't know if you could. I don't know if you could.
Since it's about an hour and 20 minutes apart. Yeah, you'd have to leave, and you'd probably be in LCA late second period, maybe third period.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Shep, it is amazing though. I honest to God, I cannot believe we're talking about the Detroit Tigers right now. I'm not being funny. And as you're watching today, I was having conversations with my buddies, and we're all texting each other, talking about the holes in the lineup. And then one of the holes in the lineup, Jake Rogers, starts it all. It's amazing. And another one, is Trey Sweeney the shortstop of the future?
Right.
He keeps it going. There's just something magical about this team right now. You can't put a finger on it. It's just happening.
Hey, by the way, I noticed a camera pan left to right of the Tigers dugout. Did you see Javier Baez in the dugout?
I didn't. Did you?
Okay.
Did you?
I thought I did, but I could be wrong. I'd like to have that verified, and I'll try and do that. That would be pretty interesting. Wouldn't surprise me, but it'd be pretty interesting because you saw, Ryan Kreidler in there. You saw a number of different faces that, are not going to be playoff roster, but you get guys that type of experience. And I just wonder, obviously Baez, you wouldn't have him on there for that type of experience, but I thought I saw him in the dugout for a fleeting moment. So you're talking about Jake Rogers. I know there are some people who no doubt were getting frustrated, Sean, with some of the swings against Matthew Boyd and against the Cleveland bullpen. And my thought kept going back to, playoff baseball, these guys are here for a reason. The reason Cleveland has gotten to this point is because of their pitching, primarily because of their bullpen. And I thought the way Detroit's younger players were able to hang in there. I mean, you go 0 for 2 or what? I mean, even good at bats like Matt Vierling had a couple of walks. Okay. Had a strikeout, had a single as well, or a double. He's on base 3 times. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal, man. I mean, against an elite bullpen like Cleveland, really impressive at bats, even when they're not having successful at bats. We always think successful at bats means you're getting a hit, right? Or you're getting a home run or whatever it is. Sometimes, when you're making pitchers go deeper into games, when you're giving the guy on deck an opportunity to see the different pitches that he has in his arsenals and what it's looking like, and giving you the opportunity to go back and tell him what it's like, those can be very productive at bats too.
Sure.
And I thought Detroit did a really good job of that from a lot of different guys, not just a guy like Matt Vierling, because he was rewarded 3 times. So yeah. I thought that was really encouraging.
By the way, Tigers 6:08 on Thursday, Wings at 7:00. So the double would be tough. Let me tell you about our friends at Legacy. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money at the same time. We all want to do a little bit more of that. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what on earth are you waiting for? Give my friends, I'm also a client, at Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Riley Green feels due, Austin. When I think that's a great point. Like Kerry Carpenter was due, right?
Yeah, it's some of those matchups are pretty tough for lefties. That's why it was really impressive, to be honest with you, that the Jake Rogers hit off Emmanuel Clase. Just filthy stuff that guy possesses. I feel that. I feel Riley Green's a little due. My son was asking me today, you think Riley Green's getting a hit because he's getting ready to bet? And I said, okay, Matthew Boyd's starting, a little softer stuff. I said, I wouldn't go lefty. I said, I would go righty. I told him to bet on Veerling. I don't know if he did. I'll tell you who's at bats I like as much as anybody else. I think Wenzel Perez gives you a really good at bat. I mean, he's a tough son of a gun, man. That dude never seems overwhelmed, does he? He seems like he digs in. He's like, okay, what you got? Let's see. Okay. Because he's not giving in. He's not caving at all. He does not feel like he's way out in front or way behind on a pitch or foot in the bucket or he's opening up too soon. The hip is opening up. I think he puts together some really good at bats, Sean. Yeah. Now Austin also said that's like saying Voldemort, dude. Shut the blank up. What does he mean by that? Voldemort, dude. What does he mean by that? The Javier Baez sighting? Is that what he's?
I'm guessing.
Okay. Because I'll tell you this, and again, I don't know if that was him or not. All right, I just thought I saw him. That tells players around the league about your coaching staff and about your management. He's not playing. We know that. But him to be there, that tells something to everybody else who says, you know what? That's exactly what you would expect. That's how you treat people, okay? I know he's he doesn't produce. You know he doesn't produce. The team knows he doesn't produce. But he also, A.J. Hinch and Scott Harris also recognize that he is well liked by members of that team. What's the harm in putting him in uniform on the bench when you know he's not going to play? What's the harm there? So you're saying shut the blank up and it's ridiculous. What would you do? Just have him sit at home? You put him on the flight. He's got World Series. He's got deep playoff experience. He can help people with questions, and it sends the right message. You may not like him, and I understand why. I don't blame you one bit. But to get all pissy and upset because they may have him, and it's a big may. I don't know if he is or not. To get all pissy and be mad because they may have him on the bench in uniform, a parka, and a winter hat like he's at the Winter Classic in downtown Detroit, and you getting all your panties in a bunch is ridiculous.
Can I say this about the first professional game I covered, Shep? The first professional game I covered, even before I went to a Lions game, was the Cleveland Browns' last home opener. And we didn't know that it was their last home opener. And they were playing, it was Tampa. And it was a beautiful, 70-degree day. And I went into that old municipal stadium, and we were in the dugout. Shep, I'm telling you, that wind coming off that lake, I wish I had my onesie on. I wish I had the big wool hat. I wish I had mittens on, not gloves, mittens. It was so gosh damn cold in that park. It was inhuman. That wind that came off of Lake Erie was insane. It really was. And it's like, and trust me, Progressive Field or whatever the hell they call it now. I went to it a bunch of times when it was Jacobs Field.
Right.
That was, you felt that sometimes too. So yeah, when you bring up the winter hats and stuff like that, that's like, dude, it gets cold there.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with Baez being in a onesie. Don't get anywhere near my lineup and don't get on the field.
Well, he can't be. So,
yeah, your hip is bad. Your hip is bad, right?
It doesn't matter. I mean, he can't be in the lineup. He's done for the year. Everybody knows that. I think there are certain lessons that can be learned from guys who've been in situations when your team hasn't. You and I have talked about it. Going into the series against Houston, Detroit had 12 playoff games collectively on their roster. All of them belong to Matt Vierling.
Yeah.
While Houston had 500,000 or whatever it was. Remember? Okay. Yeah. So Detroit's got how many on this roster now? Sure, they've been through one series against Houston. Good for them. Kenta Maeda has also been in the playoffs. Guess what? Kenta Maeda isn't active for this series. He's on the bench too. You know why? Because guys talk to one another. It's really important. It's important for guys to be able to pick the brains of any resource they could possibly have. And you never know if it's going to, if you think they would bring a guy on and he would be like, you know what, screw it. I'm strike out. Who cares? This season's over and bringing bad vibes and everything. You couldn't be more wrong. Okay. They're all in there pulling for one another. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. I've asked some people, I'm waiting on a text back. I've asked some people if it is indeed what I saw. If it is, I think it's good for the Tigers to do something like that. I don't think there's one damn thing he could do to hurt you. Okay. He's not chirping at anybody. He's not going to get in a fight. All he's going to do is be there as a positive resource. I get why people don't like him, but I think it'd be a really good move if that's exactly what they have going on.
I like angry Skubal, by the way, speaking of chirping. I loved Skubal walking off, doing this, saying, give me your smoke, give me your anger, give me your hatred. I really got in.
It's not like him.
He was joking. I really don't care if Hobby watches it.
You know, it's not like him, Sean.
I know, that's what was great about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it too. I think it's awesome that he goes outside himself a little bit and you can tell it's the playoffs and all. If that's somebody else doing it to my team, I'm kind of screaming some, obscenities back at him. But he was almost feeding off the crowd, wasn't he? Yep. Keep bringing it because it drives me harder. Good
Fuel,
for him.
Baby. Fuel. Yeah. I'm going to get some NFL things in there. The old segment I used to do, what did you see in the NFL? We have to have some conversations about the Minnesota Vikings, guys. We really do. We do. Yeah. Let me tell you about All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering has your back. They will take care of you as they've taken care of me and my family. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. I'm telling you, Rick and his group, second to none. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Shep, I still think the Minnesota Vikings are inferior to the Lions. I do. I'm not going to lie. I think the Lions are a better team. However, I think when you go 5-0 in this league, it's not on accident. I think this is a very serious threat. There's no doubt about that. They're 5-0. The Lions are 3-1. But to anybody worried out there, just know this: in 13 days, the Lions could be back in first because the Vikings have a bye. Lions go down to Dallas, take care of business, and then beat the Vikings. The Lions are back in first at 5-1. But with that being said, Shep, I'm not putting the cart in front of the horse just yet. They look pretty damn good. I've seen them almost every week this year. They look like a good football team.
Yeah, I think they're rock solid. Look, if my team were 5-0 and people were dissing them, I would be asking, where's the respect?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Minnesota got nearly enough until they actually did win this past weekend. They're not just winning. I mean, they're beating teams up pretty damn good. I'm really impressed. I've suddenly changed my mind drastically. Going into the season, I was guessing that teams like Green Bay, Dallas, Philadelphia, and San Francisco were the threats for the Lions. Now it sure as hell looks like it's the Vikings and the Washington Commanders right now, Sean, who are unbelievably fun to watch, right?
Incredible.
So I'm not worried about the Lions either. I'll be very upfront and honest about it. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. I said that before the season began. I think when all is said and done, they're going to be in the Super Bowl. But Minnesota's given me a reason for pause when they play them in Minnesota. How's that? Okay.
That team over your left shoulder, I believe that's your left shoulder. That team over your left shoulder right now. I still, Shep, they're not playing well. They find a way to win football games.
Kansas City.
I'm going to say it again. I think they're going to be the first team to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. I really do. I think there's.
Well, yeah.
Claire, the Viking fan, said, "Where's the respect?" There you go. Hey, you're getting it from both of us, man. You don't go 5-0 on accident in this league. Sorry,
Sean. Here's the other thing. You bring up Kansas City, and a great point, because Pacheco's out, and you've got why'd I lose his name? The wide receiver, for crying out loud.
Rice.
Yeah. Rice is out too. There's nobody in the AFC who's really taken the mantle, right?
100%.
And you started the segment by saying, "Hey, listen, what did you see this weekend?" First of all, we saw some really close games that were really good games, right? And you also saw some outstanding performances, but some surprising performances. You're like, if you're Joe Burrow and you're throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns and you're on the losing end, you're thinking, what in the hell is going on?
Right.
And you saw 2 decisions by coaches, specifically Sean McDermott in Buffalo. What the hell were you thinking against Houston in that situation? To me, it's mind-boggling how that happens, and that's how you lose teams. But Sean, really, there's not that many teams that I look at outside the Lions who are complete. And I think Minnesota sure looks like it, right? Washington's a lot of fun. How complete they are. Let's see what happens a little bit later on. I thought the AFC North, Sean, was the best team or best division in the NFL. It's now the NFC North. Every team's over 500, the only division like that. Cleveland's awful. What a dumpster fire that is. And Cincinnati's not as good as I thought they were. Pittsburgh, I don't think he has a quarterback. And Baltimore seems to hurt themselves a little bit. So we'll see what happens with it, but it's been fun.
Deshaun Watson openly quitting on his team is just unbelievable. I mean, I know we've seen so many instances, but he did it again yesterday. And I'll go back to that Bengals game. You are lighting it up. You are lighting the Ravens defense up. You get a gift. All you have to do is get a first down and put your field goal kicker in a position, and you decide to hand the ball off 3 times. Right. Forget that Burrow's thrown for 3,211 yards in the previous 63 minutes, right?
Right.
You decide to hand it off 3 times in a row. I don't get stuff like that, Shep.
Yeah, Zach Taylor. It's not just the handing it off. Look at the defense. You've got an 8-man box in every single one of those snaps. At least an 8-man box. One might have been 9. And they're just daring you to throw the football. I'm not telling you to take a shot. And I'm not telling you to throw anything that would risk interception. But you can't throw a curl route. You can't throw an out route or something like that. I was having this debate with somebody I was watching the game with, and they said, well, you don't want to throw an interception. I said, why do we always fall back with that cliche? That when you throw the pass, too many bad things can happen. I said, have you ever heard of a fumble? Have you ever heard, especially out of a shotgun or a pistol formation, a snap, high Lamar Jackson, where you take your eyes off it?
Yeah.
Why do we only think it's passing the football? Too many things can happen. I thought it was awful, just awful game management by both Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott.
Mike, you don't have to apologize. You said, sorry if this was already asked, but did you guys think that was a catch in left field? We both did. Yes. Yep. And it was too close. There was nothing conclusive about it. You couldn't change it. Right? But Shep, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think it hit his webbing, bounced off the webbing, and then fell back into the mitt. I thought it was a catch, but
I thought it was too. And Austin brings up a really good point. I love this. I feel the Lions should make a move at the deadline with Barnes and Davenport out for the year. We've never been buyers. Let's go, baby. Throw the chips in the middle of the table like the Stafford Super Bowl Rams. I wondered the same thing. Are they going to make a move, draft picks, be damned, and get a guy who can rush the passer?
Yep.
Because we thought that was the weakest part of their team, outside maybe the secondary, but the weakest part of their team coming in. Now that they're almost forced to, without 2 guys, I think you almost have to do it, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would go all in. Why not? The window is now, and I'm going to say it again, Shep. Honest to God, I know a lot of things can change. It's only October 7th. A lot of things can change by the time January 7th comes, okay? I mean, look back to last year. It didn't look like anybody was going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and their season absolutely fell apart.
Right.
But
10-0. Right.
all I can do is base it on what's today, okay? I'm going to reiterate what you just said. I look at the NFL, there isn't one team out there that makes you go, ooh. I mean, the Chiefs, because they have that mojo and they got that Mahomes cat. You know what I mean? But other than that, there isn't anybody that just makes me go, ooh, I don't know about that team.
Yeah, Kansas City's looking to possibly acquire a wide receiver too. So they recognize they've got some deficiencies. I got great respect for Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and what the Chiefs have done, but they don't make me, like you just said, shiver by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Minnesota deserves their flowers. So does Kansas City, but Detroit's in that mix, man, where I think teams look at them and say they're pretty close to being complete, especially if they do what Austin suggests and make a move to get a pass rusher.
Tom brings up a great point. Since he seems to have fallen this year from where they have been, you cannot operate the way they've operated. You cannot consistently dig these holes at the beginning of the year in the National Football League. And I know what people say, oh, look what they did. They went on this run and they went on that run. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work
and
that way.
And then what are they going to do about Jamar Chase? Because he's going to want a new contract, right?
Oh,
and he's an unbelievable player. And by the way, these are just on the field situations.
Sure.
Look at what happens in Dallas. Even though they won last night against Pittsburgh, Sean, look at the relationship that CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott seem to have. Like we talk about Deshaun Watson quitting on his team. He thought there were 12 men in the huddle and all that other explanation. What about CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott? Two guys who are going to be there for a long time because both got extended contracts. We'll sit there, and I had some people this morning tell me this. They're going to complain about Deshaun Watson, and for good reason. But why does CeeDee Lamb get a pass when he's sitting here complaining and bitching in public? And Dak Prescott, to his credit, looking straight at the iPad, not even acknowledging, doesn't need to get into that stuff. And all Dak Prescott does at the end is win the game for you. Well, I don't understand why he gets the free pass. Oh, because he's a really good player. I get it now. Mm-hmm. What a double standard.
No, I agree. A couple comments before we get out of here. First, let me tell you about our realtor. And I could say our realtor. When it's time to get yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling both, you need to contact the right agent. Who should you contact? Lindsay Broadwell, right there. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the main streets of Northville. She has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time for you to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Claire said the NFC North, the best division, and 3 out of 4 teams left in the AL are from the AL Central. Who would have
thought that? That's awesome.
Well, maybe the Chicago White Sox weren't all that bad, huh, Claire? Maybe we have to rethink that White Sox roster.
Hey, what about John Taylor, who's won a couple of Super Bowls? What do you guys think about the pitching on Wednesday? Who do you think they go with?
Come on, you know who I'm saying. Bo Brisky.
No.
Throw Bo out there. Give it to Bo and forget, right?
I'm going with Reese Olson. I think they'll start Reese Olson.
No, all jokes aside, it's got to be Reese, but Bo will see time, right?
Oh, I would.
We'll see time.
Find me a game where he doesn't see time. What are you talking about? It's like you working at DFN. You're working every shift.
Awesome. What are you guys' thoughts on Buffalo? I thought that fourth quarter play calling was questionable, but not surprising. I think they have second round playoff loss written all over them. I'm going to say it again.
Really?
Listen, I'm going to say it again though, Shep. If you would have told me 4 years ago that the Bills would have done nothing, I would have called you crazy. Like, honestly, it's not that easy in the National Football League.
I know. Sean, I picked them to win their division. If you want to throw from the end zone against Houston, in a tie game with 32 seconds left, you want to throw one pass from the end zone, that's fine. After that, because, a lot of things can happen. You can get a flag. You could have that will determine what comes up next. For you to throw 2 more incompletions is just to me is moronic. It's like you thought it was the end of the half and not the end of the game. I don't understand it. I thought it was one of the dumber things I've seen a head coach do, and I think that's how you lose teams. And if they don't make the playoffs, he will be fired. Period.
I like what Bill said. He's not a machine. He's a man. That's the Rocky IV line. Claire, with the kind words. Good seeing you, Shep. I thought you did a good job for the Tigers last year. I'll echo that sentiment. Austin, are you guys getting together before the Wings open? Or we are actually Thursday morning. Are you cool, Shep? Thursday morning, 11 o'clock. But I have no problem doing it. He said, if not season predictions, I think they make the playoffs because everyone got worse. But if they start slow, Newsy's seat will get real hot real quick. New Jersey's better. Buffalo's better. Montreal's better. That should scare Wings fans because they're not in that middle group just yet. I think they're going to be in that position fighting amongst other teams to just get into the playoffs. They're not ready to seriously compete yet. They're not. I hope we can all agree on that. But I think they're probably going to be in the same area that they were last year. And I know you don't want to hear that, but I really do. I think they're going to be in about that same area.
Yeah, you're talking about the conference when you mentioned New Jersey. I think, overall the division, the Atlantic Division, I think arguably the most competitive. Sean?
Easily
in the NHL. Okay,
easily.
So I think they're going to have to earn it. I think I have no other reason just to think positive vibes that they will make the playoffs. Obviously, health is massive. So if you lose one of your top six, I don't think they have the depth, and that's what worries me. And I think if they lose a top four defenseman, I don't think they have anybody who can come up and fill that role either. So that's an easy way. I'm sure a lot of people have already thought of that. Hey, you got to stay healthy. But I think when teams have a margin for error that is so slim, like the Red Wings, I think health is an absolute must if they're going to make the playoffs.
Shep, I still look at this division and feel the exact same way. I think this is an interesting division in the regard that I think you're going to see Boston slowly start to come like this. Tampa has already begun their initial descent. The Leafs are going to choke. That's just what they do. Florida, let's see how much of a hangover there is. And then you've got Montreal, who, especially on the blue line, they're absolutely loaded. You've got Buffalo with all that young talent. Even Ottawa has some good young talent. So I think you're seeing a division that might go like this pretty soon, where the top and the bottom kind of flip like that. And it's going to be fun, but a big not yet. When you've got a lot of young players, they're going to do, dumb young mistakes. Except some of these quarterbacks in the NFL are proving us wrong. Jaden Daniels, man, he's not a rookie. He's not a rookie right now.
Sean, I am not saying this, after the fact. I said it before. I said I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I think he got overlooked. If you can call, what was it, third overall overlooked or second overall.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he handles himself. Everybody was talking about how thin he was. All I know is he throws dimes. He's got great accuracy. He's got great mobility. He keeps his eyes downfield. I think Caleb Williams, I watch him, and he had a really good game this past week, so don't get me wrong, but he looks down an awful lot. And yeah. I think they're going to want to make sure he keeps his head up quite a bit. Jaden Daniels is the guy to beat for Rookie of the Year, and you could argue that he's been the best quarterback in football this year.
It's incredible. It is. Yeah. It is incredible. Let's see. Sean, does Matthews get his 60 goals this year? Gosh, he came so close last year, right? Bill, what should the line be set at for Lions at Cowboys? I think the Lions, I haven't seen it. It's probably out, but let me guess without looking. Okay. I think the Lions favored by 2.5. Because what's the home team gets a 3-point bump. So how about the Lions favored by 2.5? That's my guess.
Okay. I'm going to say Dallas is going to be favored by 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to see if there's any early line out there. Hold on. Let me look. Talk amongst yourselves. Lions minus 3.5.
Oh, you're right.
Okay. Lions minus 3.5. So that means, again, if I follow this correctly, because I'm not much of a gambler.
Oh, wait. Lions minus 3.5. So the Lions are giving 3.5. So that's what you called. Yeah, that's what you said.
I said 2.5. I said 2.5. Okay. So that means they think the Lions are around a touchdown favorite if they're playing on a neutral field. So
I hope they beat the living snot out of them.
Gosh.
No, I really do. I hope they beat the living snot out of them.
what happened to Geno Mahomes this week? Geno Mahomes is only allowed to light up the Lions. There's a rule. I think somewhere somebody dictated that.
So I said this morning. I said, just out of curiosity, when Seattle loses to the Giants, who we automatically assumed is not a good football team, but it played a couple of good games so far, and Daniel Jones actually looked very competent. Does it take away from the Lions' win against Seattle? When the Rams lose the way they've lost, does it take away from the Lions' win over the Rams? When Tampa loses to Denver the week after they beat Detroit, does it take away anything that they've done? I mean, it's such a difficult league, and it's such an emotional response from fans. You take wins no matter what, and I don't know what are measured as really good wins and what aren't good wins, to be honest with you, anymore.
Shep, you bring up such a great point. Like, I'm going to look at Tampa specifically. Washington's only loss is to Tampa. The Lions' only loss is to Tampa. Tampa is a team that has turned around and lost to the Broncos, where they got punked. They lost by 19.
Denver's first win. Yeah.
And then got beat by the Falcons when Kirk Cousins threw for 9,222 yards. I think that was the number that he finished.
Yeah, he was Bart Starr, John Hadle, all those guys all wrapped up in one.
All right, Shep, we got to get out of here. Enjoy the game. Buddy. I'll talk to you again Thursday, huh?
Sounds great.
Thanks,
Todd.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you again. See you soon. Bye, guy. Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.